Hello, true believers. Let's do another bootleg Gundam review. And of course, thank you very much for our sponsors, Quincy and Jim Bob, for making this video possible. This bootleg was bought from Divisoria Mall 168, second floor. No, wait. Sorry, fourth floor by one of the escalators. If you go to Mall 168, okay, if you go to Divisoria, if you go to Philippines, if you go to Manila, if you go to Binondo, you go to Divisoria, then you go to Mall 168. Now there's two buildings there. There's some other wing. You go to the Solera wing, okay? Because if you ask the security guards or anybody there where do they sell bootleg Gundams, they all look at you like you're insane. They have no idea what you're talking about. What the hell are bootleg Gundams? So even though they work there, they don't. It's such a huge mall. It's so many people selling things that they have no idea what the bootleg Gundam is. So I had to walk around. But let me help you out. If you're interested in these bootleg Gundams, they're very cheap. You can buy boxes and boxes and boxes. Like they're a third of the price. So you go to Divisoria, you go to Mall 168. There's actually two of them. I think one is on the first floor and one is on the fourth floor. I always go to the one on the fourth floor. They're all owned by the Chinese, like everything in Binondo, Manila is owned by the Chinese. And man, they're when it comes to discounts, they really fight tooth and nail. But I usually go to the fourth floor because they're very vlogger friendly, not like the first floor. First floor, I tried to vlog, but you could, in their defense, back in like 2013, 2014, when I started doing bootleg Gundams that you're talking about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, vlogging wasn't a normal thing. People had no idea what I was doing. All of a sudden, I'll whip out my big old huge Canon camera and I'll start vlogging, and they think that I'm like a narc or I'm stealing ideas or I'm up to something negative. So they're selling bootlegs, so they don't really want any evidence so of me videotaping. So the fourth floor, on the other hand, what I did was I bought a bunch of uh, before, and then I bought another one, and then that's probably when I started vlogging. So they already knew me, and it's the same thing with the first floor. They already know me that I bought a bunch of stuff. So the Chinese already know, the owners already know that I'm not a narc. They can tell by how much stuff I buy, how I move. I'm just how I talk. I'm just not a narc. Now I'm not law enforcement. I'm not like the police where I'm going to be extorting them for money, or I'm going to be taking their inventory because they're bootlegs. So they weren't worried about me vlogging on the fourth floor. So if you go to the Visoria Mall 168 Solera building or Solero wing, and you go to the fourth floor, there's three escalators there. So one of those escalators, I don't know if it's east, west, middle, not the middle, but one of the end escalators. I did a vlog before a long time ago, but of course all those channels have been deleted a long time ago, where I would actually go out and buy them and show you the prices and what they had in inventory. But that was a million years ago. And this is the ones I had left over. I didn't have time. All of a sudden, visitors, our friends started visiting like already on a monthly basis. I had like one, two, or three coming at the same time. So I had no time to put these together until I was in prison. So there was two things I enjoyed in prison doing. One is reading books. So I read a lot of books. I read a lot of bad books, but any book is better than nothing. And during when I was in detention, the small jail, I was putting a lot of Gundams to all my leftover Gundams. One of my privileges once I became the mayor or the leader or the highest person in the pecking order in there, you just have to keep in mind when it comes to prisons, you self-govern. It's like the police. Once you're inside, that we have our own hierarchy, we have our own system, we have our own self-governance. Okay, and so that way the police only has to deal with one person because there's usually just one police assigned, and that way they only have to deal with one person. And one of the privileges that I have is I'm able to smuggle in my, just as long as they're not dangerous, as long as it's not contraband, it's not drugs, it's not weapons, it's not anything illegal, then I could pretty much bring it in, like things that would normally wouldn't be brought in that are not allowed, like nail cutters or pens or these kind of things, because they could be used as weapons. So, but as the mayor, I'm sorry, it's not the mayor, the mayor, I was a mayor, I was able to bring these in. And for 2 months, I built all these, as you could see, these boxes over here. I've just been kind of reviewing them. And it kept me from going insane. I mean, boredom is your worst enemy among in terms of psychological trauma. I mean, there's the physical trauma, the smell, the heat, the people that are in there. But once I was in charge, I pretty much kept it pretty simple. I wanted quiet in here. I wanted peaceful. I don't want any problems. I don't want any fights. So that's fights and stealing are your major problems. And then the other stuff was pretty automated, like making sure that there's food and for the people that don't have any visitors. So if, those places, there's no food budget, there's no nothing budget. So if you want to eat, you're gonna have, we all have to. It's kind of a communism, communal kind of eating system over there where we raise money. And how do we raise money? Well, we sell contraband, not the kind of contraband you're thinking of. We sell cigarettes. Normally, let's say for example, I forgot how much they were. We would charge like $1, yeah, per piece for it, so we could raise money to buy food. And usually, I let my officers and assistants manage that part. So the things that we need for jail, like for plastic bags and cleaning and soap and general items that we need for prison. Even paint. Can you believe that? We even have to paint the jail cells ourselves. The government or the personnel is not going to provide that. So, and most importantly is food also. But when I was there, this was what I would keep myself busy. And because I didn't know, I had no idea how long I was going to be there. I didn't know. I got arrested in July 2018, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I think around once July, August, September, October. This is what I was doing. But when November came, I had a feeling that I was going to be spending Christmas in prison. It was kind of like floating up in the air. I have no idea. I just was just kind of waiting day by day. Am I going to get bail? Am I going to be able to get out? And no, bail was never a possibility because I had so many cases filed against me, all the same human trafficking. But the thing that kept me together was this, and putting this thing together. So let's get to the review. Like I said, thank you very much, uh, Jim Bob, for the recent contribution. I hope that more people will be contributing. There's not only one, but now two people making contributions. And I'm very happy with it because it's better than, if two is better than one. Of course, three is better than one, but Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to take time. It's going to take years for me to build up our community again, because we're because there's this kind of I don't want to say fear or worry or apprehension, I guess is a better word, about my situation. And it'll take time. It'll take years. If, it might take 1 year, it might take 2 years, it might take 3 years. Hell, it might take 5 years. So let's say it takes 5 years for our system to be in a situation where it was before. Now you're probably saying that the same thing is gonna happen again if you do that again. Well, of course, I'm not dumb. My talent has always been, like I said, I failed organic chemistry in college, so I'm not the brightest. But what my gift is, and it's very simple what my talent is. So there's two parts to my talent. Number one, I could put two and two together. I could probably be in denial for a while, but I'm not one of those people that like repeat things over and over again and expect the same results. Kind of like people who go online and they get scammed, and then they do it again thinking that it's the same thing is going to happen, and that they're going to do the same thing with different results. So that's not me. Obviously, I don't want to go to prison again, and we already know why I went to prison is because of money. And now that we know that what their method is, that number one, I don't have any more money for them to steal, and number two, I know the method that they take, and number three, this time it's not really they're not, if they're gonna go after me, they're not gonna be going after me for the money. They're gonna be going after me to keep me quiet. So when I said this week that I was going to do a review of the Honda car dealerships this week. So I announced that, and if I do go, and for some reason I'm not vlogging anymore again, that means the the police were probably monitoring my vlogs, and they said, "Oh, he's going to be doing a review at the Honda dealership, so let's have the scooter guys, the tandem, the two guys riding in a scooter with helmets waiting for me at the Honda dealerships." So when I show up, they're just gonna gun me down because I know too much information. And the reason why then, but if you know too much information, well, why are you still alive? The reason why I was alive is because for two reasons. The police had two purposes for me. Number one was to steal money, to extort money, to hack money. So we already proven that the police are the real criminals here. They're the real thieves. Of course, the cybercrime police, specifically Region 4A. Not, of course, the disclaimer that all police are like that, but it only takes one to ruin your life and to exterminate your life. And the reason why is because of money. So number one is money. And number two is they wanted to put a feather on their cap. They wanted to add a medal to their shoulders or to their chest because they have never prosecuted anyone. I think that department for human trafficking / cybercrime. So I was the most famous. That's how famous I am because that's all over the world. People knew about Bebots Only now. So they wanted to get a commendation because when you go to my hearings, it's almost like a parade of dignitaries. You got all these chiefs of police and majors and colonels showing up to see the monkey in the cage, to see the great rapist, the great human trafficker. Of course, everybody gets all excited because it's a big witch hunt. Obviously, I'll show you the proof that none of that is true. But of course, people want to believe it. Why people want to believe lies? Of course, several reasons. But the main one on top of it is jealousy, okay? You can just tell by when people ask the questions where the kind of jealous questions that they ask is the first thing they'll ask is, are you able to do this? How is your wife able to do it? I mean, don't be stupid. It's just simple math. It's simple 2 plus 2, okay? If you can put 2 and 2 together, you would know the answer. But so number one is my talent is number one, I can put 2 and 2 together, simple logic. And the biggest reason why people can't put 2 and 2 together is because of their denial. And I understand. I've been in those same situations, kind of like the Bernie Madoff pyramid Ponzi scam. And the main reason why he was so successful is because everyone, all the investors, even the SEC was in denial because they just didn't want to just look behind the curtain and see it was just one big Ponzi scheme. So they were just in denial because the thought of it actually being accepting that it's a Ponzi scheme or that the emperor has no clothes is too much for them to the consequences are too much to bear or too much. So me, I have no problem saying that the emperor has no clothes. I have no problem to look behind the curtain and see that the great Oz is just a regular human being. So I'm not afraid to say, okay, Bernie Madoff is a Ponzi scheme. So same thing over here is like people don't want to believe like Scott Pemberton that he just had sex with another man until he was finished having sex with another man. But during at that time when he was having sex with another man, he didn't want to believe it. Okay. So if I'm going halfway and then I see that okay, this might be a man, then I'll stop and say accept the fact and stop, and I don't want to have sex with another man. So number two is that I'll able to keep my powers of denial in check because of the consequences. And number two, my other talent that what makes putting my logic of putting two and two together is I know how to apply what I know. Okay, because just because you know it, and if you don't know how to apply what you know, then the information you have is useless. Same thing when I tell people that you don't send money for obvious reasons because they'll just use it to get themselves pregnant, get themselves tattoos, and get themselves in trouble. And you, like Attorney Mark, you could die of a heartache because you send money directly. He knew better, but he didn't have the discipline to apply it. It's like you're gonna make excuses saying, "Oh, they need the money, they need that." They always need money, okay, but they're always going to survive. Look at all the millions and millions of people here in poverty, and they'll be all right. But if you give them money without your guidance, without because my rule is, people are always asking me what do I want in exchange for all these things that I. Of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I always want something in return. And the most important thing to me is time because time means everything to us. To them, it means nothing. But time means everything. And you can even say time could mean sex, but that doesn't mean it actually means sex. It could be an emotional connection. And you can't make or an emotional relationship. Don't automatically think that because they're spending time with you that it automatically means sex. It could also mean a well meaningful relationship that could get them out of poverty. And I always say, you look at the poverty over here and what do people do about it? Okay. You can't be doing these, just give them fish for a day. You actually have to give them the, the ability to sustain. So, for example, my complainants, they have their good looks, obviously, and I wanted them to use their good looks to get out of poverty. Right now, they're, guess what they're doing with their good looks? Okay, there's a pandemic. They're not allowed to go outside. Well, how are they going to eat? How will they always have their online? Well, guess what? What everybody else is doing here that cybercrime should know, they're all cam girls now. The first, so at first they'll start talking to people online, to all these foreigners, and they'll say, "Oh, you're so pretty here. I'll send you money." And then after that, after they get money, then they'll say that it all builds up to like, okay, well, I'll send you more money if you send me naked pictures now. And then this is kind of like how they become cam girls. And so they're basically human trafficking or whoring themselves out. So that's what so if you're interested in my complainants, and it's not easy to find once they start doing their live shows or once they start spreading, because once you start sending naked pictures or naked videos of yourself in exchange for money online, that stuff is going to get around really easily. So if you really wanted to research what my complainants are doing now, so these are children now selling themselves online for foreigners or strangers online in exchange for their pictures. Why? So they could eat. And it's not just them, everybody is doing it. It's like, how else do you expect them to make money? So the last time I saw them is they have a bunch of tattoos now. Well, tattoos cost money. And it's really big. One of them has like a really huge one that you could see, even though she's wearing a regular shirt, coming out of her neck. And I said, oh, well, I can see that's my gift is these children that you guys are talking about that I raped, that are trafficked. They're online selling themselves now. They're online cam whoring themselves. They're girls now. So if that's what you guys want them to do, of course that's not what you want them to do. But if you don't intervene and if you don't do anything about it, then that's what they're gonna do. How else are they gonna eat? How else are they gonna make money? Because now we have the internet. Now they have the looks. Now that they're hungry, they have means, they have motive, they have method. So that's what they're doing. So it's not, if I really wanted to, I know who they are, I know their circle, I could probably round up a few pictures of them or some videos of them cam whoring, but that's their life now. I got my own problems right now, and that's to stay alive. And I remember, was it John Doe in the comments was saying that he was saying that I keep poking the let sleeping dogs lie. I keep poking the bear here, and I do understand that, but I have to continue. And I'm not like these people that are killed by the police. I like to think that I'm different. And how am I different? Because, like I said, I know how to apply what I know. I know how to apply their methods now. It's like I learn from my experiences and figure out and how to improve. It's always an evolution. That's probably one of the my greatest arguments for an education or a college education is it teaches you how to continue learning, because technology and information is always changing, and if you have the ability to learn, which of course these police don't know, obviously, you would think that they would know better, but they don't. So I would like to think that number one, I could figure out how to keep a few steps ahead of them as long as I know now that I'm not ignorant about them now. And number two is I like to think I have a community behind me, because if you have a community, you have resources. I would think that I'm harder to kill. I know there's only two supporting our community, but like I said, that can grow. If it takes 1 year, if it takes 3 years, it'll take time for people's apprehensions to kind of subside, and there's things that I have to follow up and finish up, and that's why I can't let this go. I have to do something, and I need a community to support, not only to enforce or to apply the experience and the new knowledge that I acquired, but those things require resources and staying alive and security and privacy. All those things cost a lot of money, which, I know it's we take it for our privacy is we take for granted in America, but over here in the Philippines, it is, as you could see from my last video, privacy is not a right, it's not a privilege, and people can take it away, especially the police, very easily. They could raid your house without any probable cause just because they're watching my video, just because I'm vlogging. Back then, nobody was vlogging. It's only after during that pandemic, since that's all they can do. People started vlogging. So I would like to think that number one, I would like to think that I'm smarter than the police, but I would also like to keep my hubris in check. That to keep two steps ahead of them. I already know one method, and I could probably apply. The fact that I'm aware of them makes me I can be one or two steps ahead of them. And like I said, people are asking if I want to. One comment was that do I want to go to prison again? No, I don't want to go to prison again. But if I continue what I would be doing again, no, I'm not continuing what I'm doing again. And I already know how the police operate, and they're pretty simple also, as you could see, what their methods are, and it's not it is effective, but also not effective at the same time, because what they really so two things that motivate them is money, and now is staying out of jail is another thing. So not only do I have information about them going to jail, you have the same information also. So what I'm saying is we're all in this fight together. I mean, any injustice against one innocent person is an injustice to all innocent people. So if you're an innocent person like me, then this is a cause that you should also take up. And and you could probably say all that money that they're sending is just for you. Absolutely. I've been very transparent when I say where the money is going. If you send me money and I'll say it went to the keyboard, it went to the keyboard. If you send me money and it went to the car, the Mitsubishi Mirage, it went to the Mitsubishi Mirage. If you send me money and I'll say it went to the house, it went to the house. I'm not one of these people that say, "Oh, look at this poor person with no arms and no legs, and he needs money. Send money." And then here I am driving around in a big 4x4 truck, where I take all the money for myself and use that person and just give them some canned food with all the money that they collect. I pretty much said, okay, I need money for a camera, or I'll need money for a laptop, or I'll need money for internet, or I'll need money for food, or I'll need money for gas. So at what point am I saying, oh, I'm gonna buy this? Because everything over here is expensive if something that you're gonna do. But anyway, let's get back to the review. I didn't mean for that intro to be long. So, Jim Bob, I'll do your Honda Accord review, but for some reason, I'd like to think that I'm gonna be try to stay one or two steps ahead of the criminal, corrupt police here in the Philippines. But for some reason, I'm not vlogging. It was probably I couldn't stay two steps ahead of him, and they were able to gun me down and murder me while I was waiting for me at the Honda dealership while I was trying to do your car review. So I hope you feel guilty, Jim Bob, because of your request that I was willing to honor. I would like to say that I'm one of those people that do what they say and they say what they do, and that's what another thing that why the girls are so fascinated by that, because that's not only that's how you one of the reasons why I do that is that's how you develop trust, and that's how when they trust you, because over here people will say things when they have no ever intention of following up on it. But me, I don't like to uh, let go of words. Once I say it, I had to follow up through on it, or then I would have no trust and I would have no respect. And those are the two things that are needed, especially when you're dealing with dalagas. It's just not just about money. Well, my complainants, back to them, is that they're not dalagas anymore. They're prostitutes now online. So it just starts online, and then they're going to be prostitutes already also. And they're children prostitutes now. And they're not prostituting themselves to me. So they're prostitute, and they're going to be single moms, and that's what they're going to do. So that's what they end up. Okay. So you have to look at the big picture here. You know, you can't be looking at the small details for we can't be just like focusing on me when the rest of the world is continuing. So these children that you guys are so concerned about, well, they're prostitutes now. And what did you do to stop it? Putting me in jail for 2.5, 3 years isn't going to stop that. It's going to continue. So that was what I was left to their own devices. That's what I was trying to prevent. I was trying to get them to school so that way they don't have to end up as single mom prostitutes. One of them is already a single mom, and you already know what she's doing. And the other ones are already cam whoring themselves. Why? Because they're always online. They got huge tattoos, and the being online costs money, and that's what everybody's doing. And what else are they gonna do in this pandemic where there's no jobs? They're not allowed to go outside, but they still need to eat. And where is this money coming from, and why are they getting it? Because that's what they're doing. They're prostitutes, they're cam whoring, they're cam girls. That's what you want them to do. You look them up, find them, send the money. They'll send you their naked pictures. They'll give you a live show. And not only in their defense, it's not only them, everybody's doing it. And then what else do you expect them to do? So that's the summary of what's going on here in the Philippines. I am in danger of being shot by the police because I'm continuously talking about their crimes. And number two is that the complainants that I was helping that turned on me, which is normal here in the Philippines. They'll turn on you in an instant. It's not something that you can judge, or you could say right or wrong. It's just culture. I always say that it all comes down to how culture is over here, based on the poverty and based on that's pretty much it. It's the kind of living for now, and they don't really they'll gladly give up a future for a small little bit of short-term gain for a lifetime of future and success. And it's up to us who know better. It's not up to them. You can't. The stupidest thing you'll say, oh, they'll eventually realize it. No, because they don't know any better. And it's up to men of experience, of knowledge, that know better, like me and other people out there, to come together and put a stop to it. And now we have to. For the longest time, I usually didn't factor the police. Now I have to factor it in. It's just something that's long-term and sustainability. But anyway, let's get to this review finally. First thing we want to do is get to the box. So look at this beautiful art. This is Buster Fighter Zaft, Z-A-F-T, mobile suit GAT X. So Zaft mobile suit GAT X. And it's got some Chinese lettering over here. And it's not a Bandai, it's a Daban. And I always say like Daban is the higher quality of like the TT Hongleys. And look at this beautiful artwork. This is exactly like the original. The boxes is just the Chinese lettering, but the graphics and the artwork. So if you look at the box over here, if I could just get this to focus. Excuse the camera. I've been wanting a new camera. I actually like the Samsung S20 FE. It's not as expensive as the S21 Ultra, but it has all the features that I want. Stabilization and autofocus tracking, so it's not so shaky like this. So if you look at here, here's the Buster suit, and he's got his pose where you can have the guns. He's got two guns that come together to form this one big ass bazooka, and you could pose it like that. And there's some more posing like that. Sorry. And some more like that. So the rest of the box, that's pretty much it. And here's his other friends over here. So the other models, I actually have some of them already. So let's get to, so one of the problems with this thing is it's going to be top heavy. So it has because he has this big gun, it's going to have a high center of gravity. So you're going to have stability issues. Man, this thing is blurry. So let's get to the next let's get to the, so I always have to constantly tap and to focus. So let's get to the manual here. So it's got this Buster Fighter 6616. Let's leaf through the pages, the manual, so you can see what it looks like in there. Focus again. So here's some artwork, and you can see he's supposedly here's the plates. You can see there's a lot of plates. And start out with the body unit. So these are the plates that you need put together for the body unit. So you just collect all those plates, and then you cut out the pieces and you put it together like a puzzle. So when you're in jail, this is all you want to do is just think about the four corners inside the jail. So just think about what's going on in the moment. So it's perfect for the people here in the culture that they could be in jail. But for me, I can't, it's hard for me to just think about being in jail if I don't have anything to keep my mind occupied. So this is what kept my mind occupied, because if I didn't, I'd be thinking about my family, who's taking care of them, how's Heroes doing, how's this football doing, are they in danger, am I going to get the news that they're going to be dead also. So lots of things to keep your mind to drive it insane. But if you have this thing, and then I'm just focusing on these pieces, I'm just focusing on putting this together, then I'm not thinking of it. So this kind of kept me sane and happy for like 2 months when I became the mayor of the place. But then I ran out, and then I started reading books. But I think I started really getting depressed when November came, and I said, you know what, I'm never going to get out, and I'm going to spend Christmas here. So I think I spent 2 or 3 Christmases in prison, and why? But that's just how it is over here. It's like people will throw you under the bus, will kill you, will murder you for your money. And here is the mobile suit with the guns in the back. And he has no beam sabers. So that pretty much concludes our, so there's no other accessories for him. His big gun is accessory. So you've got these stickers, which is crap, but it's supposed to look like this military motif. But if you put it on, it just looks too plasticky. There's some rub-on transfers, which is crap also. My experience with them is you rub it and you rub it, and you rub it like you're having your own personal time, and it still looks like crap. Now, like the water decals or water slides or decals are usually my favorite. If they're on, then I'll put them on. So let's get to the actual mobile suit themselves. I'm not going to be moving it around. I just kind of posed it where, just like the box itself, I think that's where the biggest feature of it is it's its big gun. As you can see, you could barely fit it in the frame over here. That's how big it is. and that's what you would be getting it for, is his big old bazooka. And posing it with it just in its back is just kind of missing the point of this thing. So look at the colors of it and just kind of look at it from a distance so you can appreciate how massive his gun is. It's longer than him. So, and also appreciate the color if you're into this kind of military, kind of desert storm, but also olive military green at the same time. So it looks good on him. It's a different color if you're bored of the regular red, white, and blue of the Gundams, then this is perfect if you want to take a break from those colors, and that's what makes this one unique, and why a lot of people like him, because he's different, just on colors alone. So let's go, before we go into the gun, let's look at his details here. So let's look at his feet. So I'm going to try to tap and excuse the nubs, but all I had was the side cutters when I'm in prison. I really didn't have any other tools to be used. Oh, I could sand it down, but as you can see, as a bootleg, the fit and finish is nicely, there's hardly any gapping. And if you look at it in the back, it's exactly like the original. And even the original, after a few years, it'll start cracking and falling apart. Okay, maybe there's a big gap issue over there, and maybe there's a big gap issue over there, but I could probably put that together or probably glue that together. But it just takes more skill or more patience putting these together, but you could pretty much get rid of these gaps if you really wanted to. Yes, excuse the nubs. Look at that. Look at all that nubbage there. But the point is, you'll see that what this thing is, what the possibilities are, that you can get the same experience as an original Gundam for a fraction of the price, or for a third of the price. So here's his backpack, and you can see he's got the vents here also, and I think these open up. Yeah, I think these vents open up. So let me see if we open up. There you go. So look, there's rockets in there. I don't know if this back opens up. Well, I can't seem to, but it is top heavy. So I'm gonna try to, so you have to kind of lean him back a little bit, like so. So he's got those shoulder pods, rocket pods. And let's go back to the waist area. He's got his front skirt. He's got this red side skirt, and he's got the back skirt with the vents here. So you got the red vent in there, and then you've got the gray and red in there. So I like the color separation. And then you got some more vents there, and then over here you've got the red. So the opposite, you've got red, gray, green, and beige. So it looks good. And then his chest looks good, and then his face. And then put this down over here. So let's check out his face. So it looks good also. It's got the traditional V-fin, and it's got his goatee is green this time, and it's supposed to look military, like military theme. Okay, so now let's get to the gun itself. Now this thing was a pain to pose like this, because that's one of the big disadvantages of bootlegs, is they don't articulate very well, that they tend to break if you push it too hard. I mean, same thing with any plastic, even in the originals, but this you have to be more ginger with. You have to have really soft hands to get it to pose properly. So the first thing you got to do is you got to put this hand into this handlebar right here, and it's nice if it's got this kind of hand guard. And look at the tip of the barrel over here, that's nicely detailed. So then you got this sliding mechanism over here. But the gun has some very neat details. It's got the green and gray, which look good together. Green and gray is a good combination. And then you've got this kind of swing arm. It reminds me of like in Aliens with Vasquez. That's what they use to support the big gun like this. So that's what it reminds me of, is those big guns that Vasquez was using from Aliens, and these are kind of its like support arms. So these support arms are articulated, but it's only a certain angle. It has to be like it's like on the side and up for especially for this hand to get under. You can't pose it over, so it has to come under it like this. So you have to hold it underhanded for it to, you can't do it overhanded. Just like I had to follow what the picture says. There's no way you can hold it overhanded like you do over here. So this is overhanded and this is underhanded. So it'll take you hours. So what I probably did was I took the hands apart and the arms apart and I put it in there first and then and pushed it in the side, and you just have to do it without breaking it is the challenge. And once you get it there, don't move it anymore after that. That's it. You just display it like that. I mean, I'm gonna put it in the box and put it in the storage because I just don't have the space for it. But that's how I picture it. You should have on the case, not with it stored away in his back where you can't see it, because this is the main piece over here, the big ass bazooka. So look at the inside over here. If you could see how it's connected right in there. So it's two guns connected to form one. And here's the back of it. And then so it's connected to his waist through these kind of swivel support arms. So there's one over there and it swivels all the way out like that. So this is supposed to swivel all the way back to his back. And then there's this one that swivels all the way up to the front like that to extend it. So if you want to see what it looks like with the business end like that, you just have to spread his legs really wide to get a good balance on it. And then let's rotate so you could appreciate it from the side, what he looks like. And that's pretty much it. Sorry for the light. This is kind of, I usually have better morning light. I kind of have this, I'm doing this review on lunchtime. And because we were doing some things with Heroes classes. Last night, we finally turned in his last assignment. We did some science assignments. We did some math assignments because this is his last week. So finally, we got everything finished up and he's done with school. I mean, he still has school for the next few days, but he's done with all his assignments and he can just relax now. Before we were like, every day we were doing some kind of project or some kind of school assignment so we can, before the school year finishes. So now it's all finished, we could relax. And after that, after all the things are done with Hero, I was able to finally do this review. What do I think of this? I think it's great. I think it's wonderful for the price. You could pick one up at Divisoria if you enjoy these kind of things. If you like the original, then you'll like the bootleg. As you can see, there's a lot of quality that goes into it. It's especially with Daban, it's 90 plus % like the original. And if you just give it a little bit care and TLC, you can make it exactly look like the original. And you could use this as a kit bash, or if you just wanted the experience, or if you're not a hardcore and you just want to have something fun to do like me, you're just a casual modeler. If you have some free time, then by all means pick one of these up. As you can see, I'm very happy with it. I highly recommend it. You could do the pose. You just have to do it to the side. It can happen. Even in the original, it has issues also of posing it. And you will enjoy it as much as I did, especially while I was in prison. If you have any questions and comments, sorry that my intro lasted a while, but I mean, everybody pretty much expects it when it comes to these reviews, that I'm going to add some extra information that's on my mind. But like I said, I'm doing this for our community, and I will need the community to stay alive, and that I need to continue. And unfortunately, this happened. The police got involved, and at the end of the day, the girls have ended up becoming prostitutes. And yes, they are child prostitutes now. I repeat, they are child prostitutes now. They've got the big tattoos in single mom status, at least one of them. to show for it, especially during this pandemic. So if you like child prostitutes, you want them to become child prostitutes, then go ahead and just watch and do nothing. But for me, number one, I got to stay alive. And number two, I got to prevent them from becoming child prostitutes and get an education and give them a future that they can be proud of instead of being a cam girl with no education. Right now, that's what's going to happen to them. Single mom, and guess what? They're going to be their kids are going to be single moms also. Speaking of kids, I wanted to talk about Brain Dead for a second. He he the it's just the funniest thing that what he did to Sissy. I always say what comes around goes around. Okay, so just like me, now that what happened to me is now coming around to the people that put me in this situation. So now my complainants are now selling their bodies on in person and online to strangers now, which is a fate worse than death. Before they weren't like that, but now they are because I was in jail and the police facilitated that those turn events. Did they directly do it? No, but indirectly by getting involved, that's what they're doing now. That I can't do anything about it now. But for Brain Dead to do to Sissy and Sissy's wife, and now she's a bar girl again, based on Hemi's pictures that he's sharing with everybody that she's working at a bar. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that she is working at a bar. That Brain Dead Ned caused it. Then that's gonna come around. I mean, simply just think about it. I mean, Sissy never hurt anybody. He never did anything wrong. And then all of a sudden, he never did anything to Brain Dead. And for Brain Dead to do that, to come around, I mean, karma's gonna come around to him. I mean, I know that he smokes, and he looks like he smokes because that's why he looks so old. Ned, the reason why you look Brain Dead, the reason why you look so old is because you smoke. And because you smoke, you're gonna get cancer, and you're not gonna see your daughter. And if you die because of cancer because you smoked, you can't really blame karma for that. You only have yourself to blame that you're not going to see your daughter grow up because you died of cancer because you had to smoke. Now, I'm not being a mean person. I'm not wishing cancer on you. It's your smoking and your nicotine. It's what's wishing cancer on you. Of course, I want you to live with love, peace, with health and happiness, but you're not going to live healthy if that's the number one cause of a lot of diseases: cancer, birth defects, diabetes. And why? What do you get from smoking other than it's an addiction? Anyway, I hope that you don't get cancer, but if you do, these are the kind of things that you shouldn't be doing. Number one, you shouldn't be smoking, and number two, you shouldn't be causing other people's wives or other lives to become bar girls, because you have a daughter to think about now. Okay, so that's kind of one thing you have to keep in mind, because if you die from cancer, what is your daughter going to do? Is because what you did now, that would be karma if what you did to Sissy ends up happening to your daughter. Now, don't get upset at me and don't get mad at me. It's just life is, you got to think about these things before you open your mouth. Ned, you caused somebody's family member to become a bar girl, and now, because of, number one, because of your smoking, and number two, because of what you did, you got the daughter to think about. You have to think about the sins of the father visited on the daughter. And because she's a girl, there's a lot more things that can go wrong instead of like having a boy. Maybe that would be karma coming around if that does happen. But anyway, the point is, I'm saying, is just be careful. Don't think before you open your mouth. And I know you bullied Sissy because you didn't have a wife, you didn't have a daughter back then. You didn't know that you were going to be picot. You didn't know you were going to be a shotgun marriage. But what happens is that what you do to others, don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you. Don't bully Sissy if you don't want other people to bully you. Don't make things that you want to happen to other people. You probably say, "Oh, when I was bullying him, I was just bullying him," and then Chichai is gonna say, "Well, we just made a mistake, just like their pregnancy was a mistake." Okay, their baby was a little bastard, was a mistake because she got pregnant when she wasn't even married, and to save face they got, so technically it's still a little bastard, and that little bastard, I hope it doesn't grow up and end up the same way as what he did to Sissy. The point I'm saying is just be careful of what you say, and you can't just say that, oh, it's in the past now, it's a mistake. Okay. Well, my response to that, mistakes are like Green Lantern. Okay. Ever seen Green Lantern? Ryan Reynolds? He lives with that mistake every day. And that's an honest mistake. I can relate to that mistake. I believe in that mistake. I can actually accept that mistake. But bullying Sissy so he leaves the Philippines and doesn't vlog anymore so that his wife can become a bar girl, that's not a mistake. Green Lantern a mistake, and that's just right out evil. What's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes I can't even find the words there. I mean, let us know in the comments what Ned did to Sissy and his wife, and then becoming a bar girl. And now my complainants are bar girls, and now he's got, now not only does Sissy and then so not only does Brain Dead have a wife, he also has a daughter also. Okay, so don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you. How would you feel, Brain Dead? How would you feel if you're not even associated with me? Now you're associated with me because you talk to me. Now, how would you feel if somebody bullies you so you end up getting a divorce? And if you do get divorced, it's because you got married for the wrong reasons. Never ever marry, number one, to save face, and never ever marry because you got somebody pregnant, because we all know what's going to happen. Well, what's going to happen to her if you do get divorced, and what is she going to do? She says she's going to go back to work. And what is that work, right? This is the Philippines. Okay, where is it that you meet her? I know there's only two places where you meet girls, is online and on bars. So if you met her online, she's gonna go back online. If you met her at a bar, she's gonna go back to the bar. So the point I'm saying is, be careful, think before you act, and if it does come, what goes around comes around. If that's what you did to Sissy, the possibility, and it's a great possibility, that the same thing and something will happen. The same thing will happen to you. Fair turnabout is always fair play, and in a life life is unfair. In a life that is so unfair, there's nothing more fair than turnabout. And if you did it to somebody, there's nothing more happen. And then everybody's probably going, what about you, bebotsonly? What about all the things? What about all the things have I done? Who have I ripped off? Who have I hurt? Who have I? If you talk to anybody that I have ever dealt with, they've all been a better person. They've all been happier from my dealings with me. You can't say the same thing. You definitely can't say the same thing about Brain Dead, especially if you ask Michelle. I mean, if she was around, she would probably agree. So she's worse off than he didn't even put braces on her, for the love of God. Even with all the YouTube money and that success that she made possible, he couldn't even do that for her. But anyway, like I said, what comes around goes around. And like I said, for me, what comes around goes around for me also. I'm not immune to that. And you're going to see every day. So far, we've got keyboard, and we're going to have a nice lunch. And if that's my karma, then so be it. Anyway, this review has gone long enough. This is bebotsonly. Let me know. I asked a lot of questions. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you don't, no big deal. I'll just see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.